Big up everyone and welcome to Wise Up TV, and we're going to do a casual kind of review from the couch at my house. Um, Looking forward to the Dolphins game and kind of evaluating where we are at this point in our season, and just kind of giving my thoughts around how things are going. Look, we've got to acknowledge that the start to this season, technically one of the best, well, is the best in Warriors history, in our 30-year history. We've had an amazing run so far where games that we thought, we're going to trip up, we're going to fall over, um, we've actually won them. And also, we've started to build and develop some of these young players, and especially our halves, Metcalf, for example, and CHT are starting to shine. And given the opportunity that they've now developed or are developing and on their way to building something. With the addition of Fish, and I know he's injured at the moment, but he's coming back this Saturday, and we've got, I just think, a good core group of people based from what last year was to now. It seems that youth coming through, new kind of leadership model without Tohu there, and no discredit to Tohu, but with Barnett and Fish, it brings a new direction, new energy. Webby with a bit more experience, a bit more learning under his belt. It feels as though this team is punching above its weight from what people expected it to, and especially myself. I had us barely making the top eight. Now that could eventuate. That's not to say in the NRL that everything is safe and happy days. That's not for sure, but we definitely are on the right path, and we're on a path to being in the top four, but definitely a top eight. I always say, get your wins, get the wins, the hard wins when you can, and like we've nailed the last two games. Those could have been losable games if you really think in our history and mentality, especially last year, but I think Webby's been able to turn that around and been much more resilient. Metcalf's been clutch, nailing penalty goal at the Broncos, and then nailing the field goal at a great time in the game. So look, there's a lot of positives here, and I think everyone is enjoying it, and it's good to feel it as Warriors fan that that wasn't a one-off year in many cases with Webby. That trusting his system, his processes, and his ability to develop. For me, it's his ability to develop talent. I'm starting to see that the young guys coming through are trained well. The game is very solid, consistent, and that's been a benefit. And everyone that's come in has had a good development structure. If you think about a 3 year kind of plan, Leka and Dimitrik, and those guys have had 3 years now, and they're looking quite sharp in my opinion. So I think where the club is really solid at this moment. It feels like they're going through all the steps, the right steps at the right time. I mean, when we were in that bit of injury crisis, we wanted more from Leka and Dimitrik last year, but it feels like now that was the right call to keep them held off and to come in this year. Yes, we've lost a bit in recruitment, but I think we're again making some smart signings. You'd probably look at Tanner Boyd, may come into fruition at some point, might play a game, but I think when it comes and happens, it will, and it'll be a natural transition. We won't be losing anything. The guys that come in from the New South Wales Cup have always added value, I thought. And then you got the likes of a Morgan Gannon, where again a young talent that can be developed and could be a potential star in the NRL. So I think the club are on the right path, and it's just rewards for them to be where they are currently, especially Webby, to persist and continue to build on this squad. I think has been credit to him. Now the other part of it is, when is the downfall? There's a natural feeling that these things are too good to be true. There's a natural feeling that things are, at some point going to catch us out. These tight games, games where we could have lost, is there just one more game around the corner and it all falls apart again? Or is that more of a reflection that this team is very resilient and can maintain resilience? Or are there trends to say that our players, with it's the straw that broke the camel's back? Maybe Egan's one minor hit up away or tackle away from a massive injury, or so. I think those are the things. Obviously, big question marks, things to think about. But you obviously got to entail that we've got some of the best depth We got a Sam Healy in there if Egan does go down. But I believe in guys that can do a job for a good 5 to 6 weeks, like Aaron Clark, Jackson Ford, Morata, those that have been in the front row, have accommodated for JFH, who we, to be honest, as fans, haven't really had to think about too much. But now those two are out and JFH is back, so this kind of transition, tag in, tag out, based on injuries. We're going to go through that a little bit, I reckon, in this next 10 game window, or 8 to 10 games. So I think managing that, making the right calls at the right time. I thought Healy come in just for that 1 week was great, and I know people are hungry to have more of Healy. Webby's obviously seen something, or was trying to weigh it up, and I'm thinking Healy's coming back in again. He gave Tamari an option to play as a utility to see what that looked like. It was interesting. Not to say for me that it's a long-term effective solution, but it showed something that we can adapt, or we can play a different style. As I mentioned in preseason, when you have the three halves on the field, you get that option with TMM coming in at lock at times. So it was good to see a bit of variation too. And I don't think this is. I think this is just the beginning of it. But you get the vibe and the feeling like two away wins is fantastic. Or technically one away win, but really two away wins. And can we get the third against the Dolphins? It does feel tough. The strike they have in the back five is powerful. Farnworth, Hammer, Isako's solid with his goal kicking and finishing. Um, Avarillo was super quick on the outside, although I give credit to Catewell and Pompey have been very, very effective the last few weeks. Then you've got, Isaiah Couture, which is, SJ's done his video on how crazy good Isaiah is at the age of 21 and the talent he's going to become. And Nikorima as well, the speed and the play that they have there. Yes, in the forwards, I think we have a stronger pack, and I think that's where we can get them, but you can't discredit any team in the NRL, and to get two away wins for me is plenty. But to get a third would be absolutely fantastic. But I wouldn't take that to say that we're going to win this game. I think there's definitely points in it. From the points differential for the Dolphins, it looks as though, look, they leak a lot of points, but they do score a lot more points than us. And for us, we are defending a lot better statistically. Maybe not scoring at a high clip, but we are piling pressure on points on and forcing teams to try and catch up. So for me, it's a 50-50 call this game. I had a chat with Ash as well, and Ash is calling a 50-50 high scoring. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're waiting for that full dominant 80-minute performance. I don't think it's going to be there quite yet. I think maybe towards the back end of the season. What I do love is seeing signs that Metcalf and CHT are really starting to gel now. You're starting to see different shapes, different options working. You've seen Aaron Clark, the flourishing development of Aaron Clark. So I think there's heaps happening, heaps of positives going on at micro levels, sorry. But eventually it will come to play, and I think later on in the piece where we start to open up more options. Lecker starts to get more of a feel for the game, settles in, and starts to find more of attacking options. And maybe we see some other types of things as well. So I don't think that 80-minute performance is around the corner as such. I think we are going to have to fight in the next few weeks. We've got the Raiders coming up, which will be hard at home. Sharks away, which will be difficult. But you do want to see some key indicators in that time frame. So I do agree. Look, I just want to continue to see the team competing as they have been, being resilient. You don't want to see massive hidings of 30, 40 plus points like the Storm game. You want to see the team competitive, even if they lose. So those are your bare essentials, your basic standards, but you do want to see a little bit more flourishing attack. But also you just want to see some consistency. And I think the club have been really good. We've been consistent in most parts of the field. If anything, we've been very good at our completion rate stats, error rates, super low. We're activating a lot of six gains. We're the least six gain team given to us, given against us. So, those are key indicators that will get you through most games. Those are the 1%ers that will carry you through to an end of the game to keep you in a tight game. So I think we're on the right path. I just think we need to temper our expectations even just a little bit, even more. But the momentum and ability is there for sure. Dallon's issues, I think, I had a great discussion with an ex NRL player who shared with me that teams are just evolving in their attack and how they are stretching the field and targeting wingers now, especially jamming wingers based on our system. So I think it's a bit hard to call Dallin out fully. I think he'll come right this week. I think he'll slowly get better. Yes, we all know he has those tendencies to go for the intercept option. But in general, I think we need to give him time. He's one of our star players. We can't forget the 27 tries in 2023. We would like that right side attack to get a bit more touches, to be honest, a bit more try scoring opportunities. So we can't fault that. And then obviously RTS, if he gets through his fitness test coming through this weekend, that shores up the left side. And yes, Tane will drop out, I'd say, but Tane's a footy player. He'll be around. He'll get his opportunity. And yeah, we don't know what we might do with CNK and the likes. Does he shuffle it around a little bit more? Although I personally like Capewell. Defensive way, his options are really, really good. He's playing quite well at the moment. But if they do move Capewell back in, it pushes Marata to the front row off the bench. Off the bench for obviously Fish and Barney. And then that gives you obviously an RTS at centre or something like that. So maybe Tane isn't out, but I've got a lot of respect for Tane. Always have appreciated him as an out and out footy player and a footy mind. I think he's got a good head on him, this kid, and he's gonna go far. But we've got to give those guys like RTS a shot to find their legs again, to build some consistency, and to build the reps up so that they can maintain that effort. Because we'll need those yardage meters. We'll need those efforts from RTS throughout the season to get us over the line in tight games or keep us in a game. So it's the whole squad, the whole 30. But there are some exciting opportunities for Laban to prove himself even more. Dimitri to continue to establish himself off the bench. You got Tanner Smith sitting in the background. You got Tom Ali, who's kind of nipping at the heels and making great performances in Cup to prove himself. Then you got obviously the likes of a Laban who really can cement himself if he continues to build his game. You got an MGT as well, who a guy I've always appreciated, could come in for one round and do a job. Kind of a FIFO fly in, fly out, do a professional performance and get the dub, and you might not see him for another 8 to 10 weeks. So I respect everyone that comes in from Cup, and I think they're developed well under the club and they're performing well when they come in. So I hope whenever they get the opportunity, Healy, MGT, whoever, that they're going to shine. So, but guys, that's my thoughts right now. I just want to give a massive shout out to everyone here, Wise Up TV, supporting us on our live streams, our moderators, everyone. This is nice to have a mic and be able to try new things, new forms of content, and continue to expand Wise Up TV. So we couldn't do it without you guys, man. The subscribers, the viewers, the input that you guys have as footy heads. I'm not the smartest guy in the room a lot of the time, and I'm grateful for guys like Ash, for guys in the chat that know their footy, that put their hand up and give me advice and share their thoughts on the game. We may not always agree, but that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the footy. We're here to talk about the Warriors, the good and the bad, and what we can do better and what's going well. So anyway, guys, please like and subscribe. Enjoy the next 2 days before the game. Enjoy Suncorp. Dolphins, going to be fast track footy. I love playing at Suncorp. One of my favorite game places to watch Warriors games. So it might be one of those magical ones. Maybe a Leka Halasima breakthrough on the line to score us a try at the end of the game. Who knows? But 28-24, something like that. Quite close. But enjoy footy on Saturday, everyone that's going. Up the wires as always. Take care.